Thank you for checking out the 4th edition of the CCAA's webinar series, Retention and Success of Female Coaches. The goal of these panel discussions is to identify topics that are important to the CCAA and its stakeholders and to invite experts to provide their insights. Today's topic will discuss the impact of the CCAA's Female Apprentice Coach Program and explore the obstacles and ways to overcome the barriers related to retention and success of female coaches. So I'm your host, Danielle here. I'm the head coach of the Mount St. Vincent University Women's Soccer Program. I'm also a doctoral student and researcher at Royal Roads University, and I had the privilege to work alongside members of the CCAA Female Apprentice Coach Program this year, implementing a new leadership development component to the experience. So I'm really excited to be able to introduce you to some of our panelists today. So from Douglas College, we have Brian McLennon.
Good morning, everyone. Brian McLennon, Douglas College, Director of Athletics and Recreation, former student athlete, CCAA student athlete and coach. Very happy and proud to be here today.
Awesome, thank you. From the King's University, we have Grace Scott.
Thanks, Danielle. It's great to be here, have the opportunity to talk about females in coaching. As was mentioned, I'm from the King's University in Edmonton, Alberta, and I'm the Director of Athletics there. I've been there for about 10 years. I also coach women's volleyball and have been coaching in the Alberta Colleges Athletic Conference for about 16 years. And we're talking lots about Female Apprentice Coach Program today, and I've been involved in this program with an apprentice coach. I think there's been 7 coaches that have gone through our women's team and a few others at King's on other teams as well. So we're a proud supporter of this program and females in coaching.
Fantastic, thank you. And from Columbia Bible College, we have Rebecca Garner.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. As mentioned, my name is Rebecca Garner. I am the head coach of the Columbia Bible College women's volleyball team. I am very honored to be a part of the Female Apprentice Coach Program. I just recently finished off my college volleyball career in March and took over the team at Columbia Bible College in May. So I am fresh off being an athlete and now stepped into a head coaching position, but this Female Apprentice Coach Program has been absolutely just an amazing resource for me as I do step into being a head coach for the first time and also step out of being an athlete for the first time. So it's been awesome to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you so much. So excited to have all 3 of you here today. So all our guests today are involved in the CCAA's Female Apprentice Coach Program as either an apprentice, a mentor, or as an athletic director, from a CCAA institution. So the Female Apprentice Coach Program has actually been, this is our 16th season, and it really started as a response to the shortage of female coaches in the CCAA and in the Canadian sports system in general. So over this time, the program has supported over 250 female graduated student athletes in the pursuit of coaching as a profession, which is pretty amazing. So, the first topic that we're going to chat about is, just kind of the involvement for, as an apprentice, an athletic director, and as a mentor coach. So all 3 of you kind of have distinct roles in the program and really distinct reasons for wanting to be involved. So why don't we begin by having each of you explain why you decided to get involved with the Female Apprentice Coach Program. So Rebecca, let's start with you.
Yeah, I first read about the Female Apprentice Coach Program last year when I was still playing, and I was so interested immediately. I thought it was a really cool program, sounded awesome, but didn't know too much about it. And then as I learned a little bit more, I realized that I have a big passion and interest and investment when it comes to women in sport and coaching, women coaching sports because of the impact sports has had on my life. So when I got this head coaching position, I immediately knew that this program was one that I wanted to be involved in, to grow in my confidence as a coach, in my leadership abilities, and to have the opportunity to walk with peers and even my mentor coach through the first season that I would be taking over the team here at CBC. I knew it would also be an interesting season because of COVID. So when the opportunity came up and I applied to be a part of the program, I knew it was one that I definitely didn't want to miss out on. Plus, having read some statistics that blew my mind when it came to women in sport and women coaching in sport, it made me want to be a part of this program for sure, and to even be a part of making a difference when it comes to female coaches.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. How about you, Grace?
Yeah, think I first learned of the program. I was just coaching perhaps my first or second year in the ACAC, and it just seemed really appealing to me. At the college that I had been working at, mentorship was a big part of what we did with students. And so it was just an easy transition to bring that into coaching. It's very much a part of my coaching philosophy. I know that to be a successful coach, I need people around me who can mentor me, people that I can go to for wisdom and advice, and even to kind of let me know once in a while, Grace, you need to make some changes. I need those honest people in my life, and I think that, when we're working with young adults in post-secondary institutions, this is a great opportunity, time in their life to grow. And part of our job as coaches, I believe, is to help them just develop even in their own character, in learning to understand who they are, how they relate to others, and to develop those leadership skills as well. And again, part of our team philosophy is very much a team leadership approach. I love working with other coaches on our coaching staff, and I love bringing in younger coaches, especially those who have just been athletes, have an interest in coaching. They have a great rapport with the athletes that they were just teammates with. Sometimes that can be a challenge for them. But it's also a good learning and growing experience for them as well. And it just seemed that since mentoring was so much a part of what we already do in our athletic program, that it was just an easy transition to be a part of the female apprentice coach program with the CCAA.
Fantastic. Thank you, Grace. How about yourself, Brian?
Why I decided to get involved over the 6 years that I took over the leadership helm here at Douglas College is that I truly believe the importance of equity, diversity, and inclusion in sport for marginalized population, and building that capacity for female leadership, not only within coaching but across sport in general. And I think that the female apprentice coaching program does contribute to that, and that's why I decided to get involved. I think it's really important. I've coached women's sports the whole time through my involvement in coaching, and it just builds the capacity and that modeling for female athletes of the future.
Yeah, wonderful. And it's so lucky to have all three of you in the Female Apprentice Coach program, and for your athletes, right, as well, to be able to work with leaders like you. So very happy to have your knowledge and experience on the call today. When we're looking at some of these statistics around women in coaching, based on some recent statistics, so only 26% of CCA and U Sports female teams are coached by a female head coach. And, if we look at male teams, only 3% of CCA and U Sport male teams are coached by female head coaches. So in your experience and, within your opinions, what are some of the obstacles that female coaches face to obtaining and staying in these head coaching positions? So why don't we begin with Brian, and then we can follow up with Rebecca and Grace.
I think me and you, Danielle, spoke to some of the obstacles, and I think one of the biggest ones are those mental models that people have in terms of who has that competency and capacity to coach. And fortunately for me, I was exposed very early to female coaches that were coaching men's teams. As I told you, back in Toronto, where I grew up, there was a very prominent and successful men's basketball program, and it was a female coach that was the head of that program. And it really just modeled that is possible. And I think that's one of the biggest obstacles for a lot of people, is that perspective or mental model of what they think. And again, coming into here at Douglas College as a student athlete, our athletic director at the time was female. So again, females in leadership roles within sport is just changing the perceptions for some individuals in terms of understanding that. So I think that's probably the biggest obstacles that I believe a lot of people have with females in head coaching positions.
Yeah, completely right. Kind of that see it to believe it, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I
Rebecca,
think thinking through what obstacles female coaches face is always an interesting one for sure. And I think for myself, just the lack of female coaches that I actually did see growing up, and I had a few here or there, but I had a significantly larger amount of male coaches throughout my playing career from, when I was 12 to my last year playing college volleyball, and now stepping into being a female coach. It's become evident, right, that we don't have enough female coaches out there. So I would just say, growing up, having seen less female coaches, and really blessed by all the coaches that I did have, male or female, but just wanting to see more female coaches inspire and be in those positions to impact the young women that are coming through the programs and such. So definitely would love to see more female coaches.
Grace, how about yourself?
Yeah, this is huge, isn't it? To try to figure out what some of those obstacles are and how we can find positive ways to overcome them. I think, unfortunately, sometimes as a society, we tend to get stuck in accepting certain stereotypes as the norm, and it takes different generations, I guess, to bring this to the forefront and make some change. For a long time, it was hard to see males as nurses or females as doctors, and so I think we've made a lot of headway, and it's taken, a few courageous people throughout history to show us that things need to change. And, it's been mentioned too already. Brian mentioned role models, as did Rebecca. And when I, look at different times in history, famously, Joan of Arc and people like that, but even Amelia Earhart, women who are seen in the public eye as being leaders and doing something that maybe typically females haven't done in the past. I think that's kind of the key is, telling those stories of females who are in leadership and having them as role models for young people to see. Myself, I think I was pretty fortunate. I grew up in a small town, but I actually had quite a few female coaches in different sports. And, I think that was really positive in lots of ways. So we need those role models. But I think some of the obstacles that still get in the way, there's still maybe a few kind of our male colleagues out there who maybe just don't quite see females with the same level of expertise. And I think sometimes that comes across because as females, we tend to be quieter in that confidence that we have. And, I think it's seen maybe as a weakness sometimes. Unfortunately, I think sometimes players and their parents don't put female coaches at the same level as male coaches sometimes. And I've kind of seen this at times in how even females will accept other females as authority figures. I've been in practice sometimes. I have, every year a few, always have some male coaches that assist our team as well as female coaches. And, I can say something to kind of get the team motivated and, nothing really happens, or, it seems a little bit argumentative sometimes. And a male coach will step in and say the same thing, and even sometimes harsher and more direct. And suddenly, everybody's like, okay. So, it's a bit of a battle at times to help, athletes kind of understand and follow that female leadership. And oddly, sometimes when I've coached male teams, I haven't had that same kind of conflict. So it's very interesting, just that approach to females in leadership, and that we still have some work to do, I think, in changing that. And again, one of the big things is just seeing more females coaching. And another area I think is I kind of mentioned this before, but a lot of young females who are starting out, maybe coaching club teams, junior high, they're trying to find maybe their own philosophy and their own leadership style, and they lack that confidence at times, and don't always have that same mentality of maybe faking it till you make it, which I think sometimes males are a little bit better at. But that can be very problematic sometimes, because without that confidence, it's hard for, I think, players and parents to accept them in those leadership roles, and see that again as a bit of a weakness. And unfortunately, sometimes when players are disgruntled or in that environment with younger players, even their parents, are very confrontational with these female coaches. And a lot of females that I know, they just shy away from confrontation. It's very difficult for them to handle, and they don't have that experience to be able to handle it. And so, if there's too much of that, they often quit, which is so unfortunate, because I just don't think that we've had a good support system in place for them to really be successful as young coaches. So unfortunately, I think we lose a lot of good young female coaches, because their experience just wasn't what they thought it was going to be. It wasn't as fun. It was a little bit more, negative than what they had hoped for. And if we have better systems of support, I think that we will have a lot more success in not just finding female coaches, but really retaining them and helping them grow as leaders in whatever sport that they're in.
Absolutely. And yeah, through all three of your discussions on this topic, we've identified some of those obstacles or barriers that female coaches face. But we've also kind of alluded to some of, ways to overcome some of these barriers. So I'm really curious to get more of your thoughts on this. So Grace, within your role, as a female head coach and as an athletic director, what has helped you navigate or overcome some of these barriers as a coach?
Good question, Danielle. I think for myself personally, it's been having the privilege of growing up in a family where my mother was a very strong woman, and whatever obstacle came her way, she was determined to find a way to get through it. And that was a tremendous example for me. And I have a brother, and we were both treated the same. I remember being 7 years old, and I was home from school with the measles, and my uncle, I guess he thought I needed something to do. So, he got me out, and he taught me how to shingle a roof. Those are not typical things that young females did kind of at the time that I grew up, but I experienced all those things within my family. So as a female, I always believed that I could do whatever I wanted to do, be whatever career that I felt led to do. And I think I was fortunate in that I never really experienced, that prejudice towards females in leadership. And perhaps I just didn't notice, which is maybe a good thing too. because I never went looking for it, I guess. I just believed that if I didn't have a certain opportunity, that I just needed to work harder. And, sometimes we've all had those experiences where, haven't maybe been treated as fairly as I thought I should have been. And, maybe by someone who happened to be a male. But rather than just automatically going to, he doesn't like women, I would kind of watch that person's character and realize that, they treated other males that same way. So it really wasn't a female issue. It was more of a character issue. And, clearly that person just wasn't a very good leader. And so, I think to overcome these obstacles, we have to find ways to build that confidence in our young coaches, whether they're male or female. We need to, again, have that support system there for them. We need to really see women in leadership as the norm, and to be talking to our young females about what their career goals are. And, if they're in business, do they want to start their own company, be a CEO? If they're interested in politics, let's have that dream to be Prime Minister of Canada. Those are things that in the sports environment, we can help them learn some of those skills in leadership, how to relate to other people, how to resolve conflict, how to move forward when people disagree and resolve some of those issues. Those are all things that a mentorship program is so beneficial. And again, sports is such a great place to mentor people. It's that microcosm of where, it can be so dramatic, but it's certainly not life and death in any way. You can make mistakes and you're fine. Clearly there are professions that people take on as careers later that you cannot make those same type of mistakes. But in sports, it's a very safe environment to learn those leadership skills and to test them out. And I think especially for females, to be okay with making those errors. A lot of my female athletes have that, that tendency to be perfectionistic. They get good grades, but they're so devastated when they make mistakes. And I think if we can help them grow in that area, they will definitely become stronger leaders. And just helping them to see the value that they have as people, that dignity, that no one can take that away from them. Just helping them develop their own self-image and confidence. Those are the things that are going to help them be better leaders, not just, on a sports team, but more importantly in their careers and in our society. So, helping them kind of identify those obstacles that they see in their life and, coming alongside them to find ways to overcome those obstacles or just plow right through them. Whatever means that they see is the best course of action for them.
Grace, that's so powerful, right? That intentional use of sport for leadership development for our female student athletes, our male athletes, and especially in this context, our female coaches. Love that. So Becky, I'm curious for you, right? You're just beginning your experience as a coach in the collegiate environment and a head coach. So what's currently helping you to overcome some of these barriers? And, when you think about the future, what's going to help you stay on the game?
Yeah, such a great question. I think, thinking about this question has been really interesting. So I'll start with the overcoming part. Honestly, hearing from people like Grace and Danielle sharing their stories of how they have gotten into sports leadership, but also how they've pushed through and gotten through different experiences and such. So that's been really, really helpful for me. This program, the Female Apprentice Coach Program, has been so extremely helpful for me, just in understanding everything when it comes to being a woman in sport that's coaching and leadership and things like that. So that's been really helpful. Another thing for me that's really pushed me to overcome these barriers and these obstacles has just been being tossed into being a head coach right away. Like I mentioned, I just finished my playing career in March and got this role in May. So it's pretty quick, but I think really embracing just how grateful I am to have this opportunity that I know not everyone gets, and bringing in that fresh perspective and new excitement to the program has been just, I think, really important. Just understanding that there's been awesome people who have gone before me, female coaches, male coaches, whether it's at CBC or not, and how, I get to step into this position and make an impact. So some big things that I've taken from the program is just understanding that I can have a coaching philosophy, and that's really important. And I need to have confidence, and I need to, dive into these different areas of learning more about who I am, which will benefit my team and which will benefit the people that I get to coach and work alongside. Confidence is a big thing that we've talked about in the program. And I've learned quickly that playing and coaching are quite different when it comes to confidence. But growing in my confidence as a coach, I feel like I've had to start from ground zero, whereas as an athlete, I kind of worked my way up. But it's been really, really great to hear from people like Danielle and the other apprentices in the program that we're all walking this road together of growing in confidence and growing in understanding the impact we can make and our whys and things like that. So that has been really, really huge in helping me overcome. And then the last piece, like I kind of mentioned, is the peer relationship. So in the program, we've gotten to just have communication with people that are going through similar things when it comes to being an apprentice coach, and understanding, that mentor relationship has been so helpful. I think I see Danielle as being one of my mentors for sure as well. Just listening to her research and just what she's looked into when it comes to female coaching has been really inspirational for me in overcoming these barriers and these obstacles. And my mentorship with my mentor coach, Ryan Adams, has also been really helpful. And he's just really inspired me and allowed me to just really take over this program and to buy into the little steps that I was taking and to having more confidence. And then also having my past coaches help. My past coach from my time at Briarcrest College, Nolan Wymester, has helped me with just sending me things and making sure that, what I'm doing is going really well. So he's been helpful. So I think just having just a network of coaches surrounding me, and whether they know it or not, they've made a huge difference in the way that I've been able to overcome some of these obstacles and just really step into head coaching as my first year, and it being obviously quite the unique season, but with everyone's help surrounding me, I've been able to really do that and to do it to the best of my ability, which has been awesome. When it comes to staying in the game, I think resources like this program are one of the biggest things that I can think of. It's just having a program that's set to allow women who are coaching to just be themselves and to embrace the things that are challenges and to embrace the things that we're really good at and to put them together so that we can become the best coaches, mentors, role models we can be, as was mentioned before. So definitely programs like this. I'd say mentors, like I mentioned, having that network that I'm hoping will continue even after I finish this program is just so important to me, because those people have been people that I can run ideas by or just listen to as they speak and just give me fresh wisdom has been really important. And I think the last thing that really will help me to stick and stay in the game is just understanding my why and not losing sight of that. And, my why is to ensure that each player on my team feels valued and that they're understanding that who they are is more important than what they achieve. And I think being a coach, I've really learned that I can make a difference when it comes to that, and I can have that impact on them. And I think that's a huge reason of why I'm going to stay in the game. And I think it becomes almost inevitable when I understand that my why is why I'm here and why I want to be a coach. So there's a lot of obstacles for sure, but there's also so many reasons to stay in the game. And in this program, we've learned so many ways to address these issues, but also just to understand deeper who we are and why we want to coach. So definitely have learned a lot from this program about, how to overcome these things and how to stay in the game.
Fantastic. Yeah, what a wonderful answer, Rebecca. And I love that you brought up the point around network, right? Because we know within the research, that's a huge piece of support for our female coaches and especially our young female coaches. And something neat about the program this year was, connecting our apprentice coaches through Zoom, and then also connecting our mentor coaches and athletic directors, right? Because we're kind of all in this process together. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So Brian, from your experience, what steps can other ADs or athletic directors or sport leaders really take to help eliminate, female coaches overcome some of these barriers that we've spoken about?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I kind of distill it down into 5 in terms of empower, bring about awareness, create opportunities, provide space, and mentorship. And I know Grace kind of spoke to some of the experiences that she was exposed to, and that's where I encapture empower. And, again, in some parallels in terms of being a Black in a athletic leadership position, it was Joe Acabellis at Capilano U that, said one day, he goes, I think you would be a great athletic director, Brian, and you should look into it. And that empowered me to even conceive that I could be in that position, because I didn't have a lot of role models or see a lot of male of color or Black males in athletic leadership position. And it works the same within female coaching, is having that person say to them, I think that you will have the characteristics and the skills to be a good coach. It empowers them, and that then lends into creating or bring about awareness of this important program as the Female Apprentice Coaching Program, bring about awareness of some of the coaching development clinics that they need to take in order to get themselves qualified to be a head coach, and to learn those skills of being a head coach or to coach within sport. And then again, creating those opportunities, and whether that is providing them as an assistant coach or having them have an opportunity to speak with former female apprentice coaches. I know when I had a couple female apprentice coaches that had come in, I had had them reach out to other coaches that are at other institutions and other female ADs and ask them questions that I couldn't definitely answer for them. So creating those opportunities for them and providing that space for them to grow. I know with us here at Douglas and myself, it's early identification. If I see one of our student athletes that I think would be perfect for the program or is demonstrating some of those leadership capacities and competencies to be a coach, I let them know 3rd, 4th year, so that thought or those ways that they can get into the program, it allows them to kind of think about it, ask questions, and look into whether this is something that is feasible for them. Because I think just having a couple of years to think about whether this is the proper career choice for them, or if that's what they want to do, lends to it being more of a sustainable model for them to get into. And it's not just them transitioning out of their graduating year to become an assistant coach because their identity hasn't really changed in the sense of being involved in sports. So I think early identification is really key for me. And then, as Rebecca lent to, mentorship, because Grace did speak about sometimes that perseverance to push through when you're going through a difficult period as being a coach, and being in leadership positions can be very lonely. And having the ability to reach out to someone like a Grace or a Rebecca that has been there, that could, speak to you and push you through those difficult times, I think is really important. So again, I think that mentorship piece is crucial to overcoming some of the barriers.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. And I love that you've touched on empowerment, because especially as an athletic leader, when I even reflect on my own experience as a young female coach, it was about my athletic director, exactly like you're doing, Brian, planting that seed, and then providing that support and mentorship as you speak about along the way. Some fantastic ideas and great resources for anyone listening today of, how we can support our female coaches, because it really is that holistic process, right? We all have a part to play in it. So to wrap things up for today, I'd love if each of you could just share, what impact the Female Apprentice Coach Program has had on you personally, and then what value has it brought to your school and your team. So why don't we start with Rebecca, then we can go to Brian and then Grace.
Yeah, I've told Danielle this a lot, but this program has just been so beneficial for me stepping into this position, and it's really allowed me to have a space to chat through what I'm going through, the opportunities that I'm getting, and just to to be able to walk alongside of people as I go through this. And as Brian mentioned, like, it can be a lonely thing stepping into leadership, but it has not been for me because of this program and because of the mentorship opportunities and because of the athletics program at CBC. So I have been really impacted by just the opportunity to share what I'm going through, but also have people speak into that and have, the peers in the group or people that I used to play against or people that I played with, and have those people be able to speak into what we're all going through, and to hear from different people about what they're going through, and to hear from Danielle about what she's gone through has been just so absolutely incredible in growing in my confidence. It's allowed me to create a philosophy, and it's just given me so many resources that I can now use. We have a page that Danielle has created that we can go to and look for resources, and to have videos to watch, and to read books, and these things that Danielle's kind of allowed us to just go through on our own to find. And it's been so helpful. So that is definitely one of the ways it's impacted me personally, just growing in my confidence in who I am as a coach, and in understanding that I'm not going to be maybe like every other coach, but bringing who we are into it is really important. So that's been a big theme for me. And I think when it comes to my team, they don't know this probably, but they've been impacted by it too. And just our program as a whole, through just a deeper understanding that what we're doing as coaches is just so important. And, that leadership, that role model aspect, I've just grown in that a lot through the program, and just in understanding that, there's so much that goes into being a leader and being a coach, especially as a female, working with other females that are being now impacted by what I'm doing and what I'm learning. So it's been really cool to bring what I've learned through the program, through the Female Apprentice Coach program, back to my program at CBC, and seeing that, all these things make a difference when it comes to, how I coach, the ways that I'm learning how to coach, the resources, just growing in, skill specific, but also in just who I am as a coach, and how that actually really deeply impacts my team and my program. So I can't say enough about the program. I would recommend it to everyone, but definitely just really, really honored to be a part of it, and to be a part of a group of strong women that get to, go on and coach, and whether they do or not, we get to grow in our leadership and in who we're becoming, which is really exciting. So definitely love it.
Thank you. How about you, Brian?
Again, as me and you have talked many times, Danielle, and as I reflect on my graduate studies from Royal Roads University, that's what me and you share in common. I've always been passionate about equity, diversity, and inclusive kind of initiatives that builds the capacity within sport, and especially for those that are in the underrepresented or in the marginalized populations. And the FACP program definitely is underpinned by some of these same capacity building and inclusive philosophies. So that's why I am very passionate about the program, and have been involved since day one, since I've been in this position. Similar to what Grace mentioned earlier, I truly believe that sport is one of those few societal spaces in which, individuals from all walks of life have the ability to come together regardless of who they are and what their socioeconomic background is or their ethnic background, and have that equal footing and opportunity to be successful. And I know for us here at Douglas, that's very important. One of my goals is to have one of our female apprentice coaches program or candidates be involved in our men's program as an assistant coach, and again, kind of challenge those assumptions and break those mental models. And of the 6 candidates that we've had since I've been here, 3 of them are still involved in our programs as assistant coaches. And I just don't see them as, apprentice coaches. I see it as succession planning. My approach when I'm identifying a potential candidate is that this is going to be one of our future coaches at Douglas College, and I approach it that way, and they're completely folded into everything we do. They attend all of our coaches meeting, and they have that expectation of what a head coach would have. So that's how I view the program and approach the program.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. And how about yourself, Grace?
Yeah, I think personally, I'll maybe speak from the athletic director position. First of all, having the female apprentice coach program, just help us a little bit financially is a big deal, because we can just have more assistant coaches on our coaching staff and be able to afford that. And so it creates more opportunities for those females to be able to have that little bit of financial reimbursement. For a coach, it's just a really rewarding opportunity to be involved in mentoring and to be, passing on the knowledge and the things that you've learned as a leader to someone else. And with that, I myself am often challenged by different perspectives that assistant coaches bring, and I appreciate their feedback. I love when we can all sit together as a coaching team and, kind of have debates and discuss different things. And I think that, a younger coach, gleans a lot from that, sitting around older coaches and kind of hearing that, they can disagree on things, and yet they can still come out the other side in a really positive way. And that's the only way our team's going to grow, is for us as a coaching staff to not always be able to agree and to try new things and to fail. And for myself as a coach, I've made so many mistakes in my coaching career. I can only hope that, I just don't repeat those mistakes, that I learned from them. And that I just, try to get better as a leader. But I'm so fortunate to be surrounded by an amazing group of, coaches who come back year after year and build into our program. And I guess, when we look at how this female apprentice coach program affects our school and our teams, for our school, it's developing that eagle pride. It's to have alumni continue to be involved with our athletics program and to pass on that legacy. And specifically for our team, I can remember one example that, it really made us proud as coaches. We were in a pregame talk before the final at the national championship of the CCAA a couple of years ago. And one of our players just talked about that, before we played, we needed to go out on the court and be grateful for how so many players had come before that particular team and built into this program and allowed us the opportunity to be where we were, because we didn't just get there overnight. A lot of student athletes and coaches had built into the program and, made it what it was. And to be grateful and to honor those people, even though, there were some good teams that never got to go to nationals. They really created the way for others to go after them. And that's that sense of pride that can only come when you are involved in just, building into each other's lives and mentoring one another. So that's why this program is such an important part of what the CCAA does. It gives females opportunities. For us as coaches who are mentors and involved, it's so rewarding for us to, at the end of a season, look back over a year and see how that young coach has grown in confidence and has, earned the trust of those young players that have come in, that they've been coaching, to see them work through that transition of being, a teammate with maybe that now fifth-year player, and now they're their coach. Those are difficult leadership transitions, but to see them grow in those areas is just amazing. And it really is, what makes coaching such an awesome career, and just opportunity to be involved with coaching young people. It's so much more than just coaching sport. It's coaching them those life skills. And the CCAA Female Apprentice Coach Program really does give us the tools and the opportunities to be able to do that. So, very grateful for this program and how it has grown in the past. I think it is 16 years. Really want to give the CCAA, commend them for that, because I'm sure it wasn't always easy to keep this program going, but they've been able to see the fruit of all the coaches that have come forward. So tremendous job that they've done.
Wonderful. So I just want to say a massive thank you to Brian, to Grace, and Rebecca for your passion and for offering your experiences, your insights, and really into the topic of women in coaching and our CCAA Female Apprentice Coach Program. Would also like to thank Sport Canada for supporting the CCA's Female Apprentice Coach Program and for being the presenting sponsor for today's webinar, as well as Toyle Brown and SportsCanadaTV for providing production support. Again, thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. We hope that you found this discussion valuable, and we really encourage you to check out any of the other editions of the CCR webinar series. Thank you and take care.